The very first mistake is that you don't have a cover letter. We all know that submitting a cover letter is actually optional, but a survey revealed that 77% of recruiters prefer candidates who send in a cover letter, and 83% of HR says that cover letters are important for their hiring decision. This is especially important as there will be so many candidates with impressive work histories and track records competing against you in these executive positions. 90% of executives said cover letters are invaluable when they're assessing job candidates. And according to 49% of HR managers, your cover letter is the second best way to call attention to your resume and differentiate you from all the other applicants. So if you think cover letters are no longer important and necessary in 2024, think again. Mistake number 2 is let AI do the job. Well, many senior leaders are well aware they don't know how to sell themselves in the right light and show what they could do to make a real difference. So they use ChatGPT in drafting their cover letter. Well, generative AI is transforming for our lives, but you must be especially careful when using it for your job application. When your job application comes across as an AI-generated cover letter, immediately you lose respect and interest from the other side. In fact, there are so many warnings from recruiters. Here are some quotes from the recruiters. It lacks the personal touch where we learn about candidates' human experience, evidence to back up their skills, and passion for the role. The cover letters sounded too stiff. They seemed like they were written by a junior candidate. They lack character and seemed almost too formal and professional that I'd want to get to know the person a bit better. Now let's say that even ChatGPT did an excellent job with all the right keywords and get you in the door, you will still have to go through the interview process with your own words, which can make it even more painful and more obvious that the words were not your own. A recruiter said the downfall could be when the applicant is progressed to the interview, when they fail to articulate themselves in the same way or are not able to provide examples of their experience to accurately reflect what the ChatGPT produced for them in a cover letter. You definitely can use AI to help bring some structures to your cover letter and your resume, but never rely on it for a final version. AI can help you generate ideas and make your writing smoother, correct your grammar mistakes or spelling mistakes. As a senior leader, you should have good judgment regarding your own communication style, your authenticity, your leadership brand, and your executive voice. When it comes to the final version of your cover letter, you really want your own brand, your personality to shine through, and make sure that the writing reflects your executive voice, your leadership brand. Even if you have some help, you still want to make it feel like you, because if you do get to the next stage, a human will still read your application letter and your resume, not a robot. The next mistake is fail to capture attention from the opening. Here are how they look like. I'm writing to express my interest in the general manager position. With 25 years of experience in the automotive industry, this letter is in response to the VP of Marketing opening. I am interested in the CFO position. If you write any of these sentences in your cover letter, you are likely to lose the potential employer's attention very quick, because none of these sentences explain why someone should be interested in interviewing you. Now, with over 20 years of experience in these big organizations, you understand the busy nature of executives and senior positions, so you must grab their attention immediately with the first sentence of your cover letter. They will only keep reading when you have a great cover letter with a great opening line. Now you know you are their ideal candidate. You have what it takes. But you need to convince them of that. With these opening lines I just said, you have already lost their interest before you have even started convincing them. Now, write an effective cover letter. You want to think of it as a piece of communication. What is a great communication? It is with your audience in your mind and speak to their needs. The best way to capture attention is to pinpoint a challenge at the company you're applying to, and then highlight your relevant track records, your qualifications, and how you can help them solve that problem. A compelling opening line not only communicates who you are as a leader, but also showcases your communication skills. It is one of the most essential skills for any executive. So if you can't even sell yourself, how can you represent your organization and sell its purpose, the strategy, the culture, and solutions to various stakeholders, from customers to business partners, media to investors, and current and future employees? The next mistake is make the cover letter about yourself. Now you might think, isn't cover letter and resume about myself? It's a collection of my accomplishments and my competence. Well, that's true to a certain extent. Your cover letter shouldn't be a self-bragging letter. Instead, every point about your skill, competence, achievements should directly relate to the position or the company you're applying for. So instead of starting your cover letter with why you are great, approach it from the angle of why the company needs your competence. It's a simple change in perspective, but it significantly impacts how your cover letter is perceived. Now, by the time you reach the executive level, you probably have a wealth of experience and achievements that can go on for pages. However, don't allow yourself to list everything about yourself and focus on yourself is the quickest way to be ignored by the hiring manager. To really differentiate yourself, you need to put focus on why the company needs you. Now, another common mistake is you spending too much time sharing why you want the job, such as you admire the company's purpose, their mission, and you align with their culture. How the location will benefit your family. Well, it is okay to mention a line or two along with these lines, but the main focus of this communication should be on how you can benefit the company. The next mistake, one letter fits all. This is such a common mistake, but one that many people make. They don't put the time in to write a specific cover letter for each position they're applying for. What they do is that they write generic block of text that is copied and pasted to everybody. The very first thing you can do is to address them by the name. Don't start your cover letter with "to whom it may concern" or "Dear Sir, Dear Madam." In today's job market, to find out the hiring manager's name for the job posting has never been easier. I know it's not practical to rewrite every cover letter from scratch, but there are a few things you can actually do to make a difference. If you look closer, in many job postings, you can actually find the name, job title, even the email address and phone number of the hiring manager and HR business partner at the bottom of the job posting. Now, let's say even if the hiring manager's name is not provided in the job posting, you are applying for a senior executive position, and the person you will be reporting to is very likely a high-profile executive as well. So it is really not difficult to Google the name of the president or the CEO on their website and to find out their leadership team. Now, let's say even in the worst case, you don't get the name correct, addressing it to someone remotely involved in the organization in the hiring process still puts you ahead of all the other candidates who just write "to whom it may concern." Next thing you want to do is to make sure you mention the company's name. And this really takes less than a minute to mention the company's name and mention the job title you're applying for. Just by taking these 3 small steps, having a cover letter, addressing them by name, and tailoring your cover letter to the position, you have left the rest 99% of the candidates behind you because most of them do not do it. The next mistake is that you don't use that employer's language. It's a really common mistake. Now, there are so many ways to research an employer before you even set your foot into their office or even without knowing someone from that organization. When it comes to your executive cover letter, you really want to show that you have already done your homework and you understand the company and the culture you're about to enter. So don't use the language like the acronyms that is specific to your current organization, I know which you have been used to for the last 20 years. Instead, you want to familiarize yourself with the language and acronyms used by the prospective employer. This is similar to mirroring in psychology. Mirroring is a powerful tool in persuasive communication. When you are mirroring the words, body language, and energy of the person you are trying to influence, you establish a subconscious connection and increase the likelihood of them being receptive to your message. So how can you achieve that without even working at this company? You can research the employer's website, press releases, quarterly earnings calls, annual reports, and interviews with their CEOs and executives. And really pay attention to the language you use, because what's likely to happen is that you have developed a certain way of communicating, speaking, presenting, and writing that are great fit for your current organization and current position where you probably have worked for over a decade. And this may not necessarily align with the new organization and the new audience. They have never worked in your company. Having the right cover letter is one of the many steps I took, moving myself from Asia to Europe and having had 2 vice president positions. And if you are serious about advancing your career to the senior executive level this year, you can submit your application to the 1% Academy program where you will be coached by myself. Not only that, you will also network with other like-minded leaders with international backgrounds. Go to inspiremyday.org/apply or click the link in the description below to book a free strategy call with my team or myself. For now, you want to watch this video and learn how to write an executive cover letter. I'll see you there.